2 episodes in the same week? Say what? All right, guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Flood Pac Man Restore. Yeah, I'm going to give you another one, same week, man. I owe it to you guys. I told you I would have this thing done in October, and here we are in January. And so I'm going to try to speed things up. Plus, I'm getting a little excited, just a little bit, because this thing is really, really starting to shape up, man. Let everything dry. The only thing I did off camera was I painted the inside of the back part there so it all matches. I'm not going to worry about the top because that's all enclosed in. But I just wanted to get that all looking nice and uniform. I went ahead and got some 1/2-inch plywood. We're going to go ahead and build the speaker area and the wood piece that goes back, that closes off the back where the bezel goes up to it. And then I also got some 1/4-inch plywood that will do for that little, you know, flat cardboard piece that keeps you from being able to reach in. Don't really need it. Don't plan on it being open, but you know, I do have kids. If they open up, I don't want them reaching in and touching the transformer block or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and do that. Just make it look structurally like it was. And then I want to go ahead and knock out that bottom. Now this is all built up and tight up top. We'll knock the bottom out, put the new piece of wood in there, and we should be good to go. So let's start out. We got to cut to 23 1/4 for our 1/2-inch piece. And we'll go ahead and do that so we can get those cut and put in there. We do got some angles to cut where these two meet in the back, but I'll show you guys that, a closer look at the cab real quick. Okay, what we're gonna work on is this part in here where it goes in and down, and somebody called me out and I love it, man. If you see a goof up on here, let me know. He's like, hey, you took the time to mark it with a pencil and then you painted it black. Yeah, I did. But the reason I did that, I had a method to my madness. I realized that this groove right here is only on one side, and that bottom side is the one that sits to it. So as long as you line it up with that line, it's dead on point. Same thing on the back. This is the back piece here, so you can see where the wood, where it goes in, where it was painted. So that faces there, and then that faces there. So we'll be all set on that. I'm not putting those. I'm not cutting these actually into the new piece, but we'll use that as a guideline where to go ahead and do our staples and stuff. Because you can still see the holes where we knocked them out. So one little bugaboo, this is pretty straightforward. It does have a bevel on the one side, if you can see right down there. So we just got to match that angle where the two boards meet inside the cab right there. So one's going to be going one way, one's going to be the other way. Should be pretty much uniform angle. I believe this one sits on top of the other one. So we'll figure that out. We'll do some math. We'll get cutting these boards, and then we got to cut out the speaker hole. And yeah, then we install it, and then we'll go ahead and cut the piece for down in there. All right, we're back to our trusty table saw, and got some 1/2-inch plywood here. These are project panels, which are great if you're only replacing just a little bit, because they're really cheap. They fit in the back of a car. You don't have to go with the full 4x8 sheet if you don't have to. And if you do, though, I mean, they'll actually cut your panels there. The only thing I don't like is the blades on those saws at like Home Depot or Lowe's. They're normally really dull, so they'll chip the crap out of your plywood. And you know, that's just extra work that you don't want to do. So this is just kind of medium grade. It's got a super smooth side on one side, and then the other side with some knots and stuff that will go on the inside. So you just need one smooth side. And this piece will actually make the speaker part and the back part that the bezel backs up to. So first things first, I got this set at 23 1/4. Just gonna go ahead and check it right at the blade, make sure we're at it. And first thing to do is rip this thing down to width. So we're gonna make it 23 1/4 inches wide, and that's how wide our cabinet is. So we're doing the same thing. Like I said, the most important thing is to keep it against the fence. Notice I am wearing my glasses. Somebody called me out on that. Delusional Arcade, man, big shout out there. He's like, hey man, I want to see you do some more episodes, so cover your eyes. All right. We get the tape measure. We'll check to make sure. All right, we're right at 23 1/4. So we should be good to go. It will fit in the cabinet. All right, the next thing we got to do is we got to go ahead and figure out the width of these. This is the back part. And we got to see how far it goes down. So right here, it says a little over 13 3/4. Just a touch over. So to get this perfect, because we still got to figure out this angle, and the best way to do that is to go ahead to the middle of the blade, and then there's a gap there, so I can actually see how much the angle is. So then I start changing my blade until this angle fits flush against it. Now you can go ahead and get a you know, like a caliper out and measure the angle and all that stuff, but literally it doesn't have to be exact science. It's got to be just close enough to where the two boards meet. So that looks good. And then what we want to do is find the center of the blade, and then we'll square up the fence and we'll check it to make sure everything looks. We got the angle now. That's square there. We already got it cut to the 23 1/4 width, so now we can just run this through and we'll have that exact same angle as that fits perfect in there. So let's go ahead and cut that angle, and we'll cut the back piece. One more important thing to take note of is the painted side is going to be the part that shows on the inside. So you want that angle going out towards the good side. So we got to remember that when we cut this board, because we want the good side facing in so it will look nice and neat with the paint. So this, just checking it one last time, fits nice and smooth. We got the angle right. Go ahead and put the nice cut edge up on top. Like I said, the most important thing about this is just keep them close to the fence and keeping it straight. All right, we got our back piece cut. We got the angle. You can see it. It goes right down there. Now that's going to go like this, and then the rooftop piece is going to match onto that. So we got to go ahead and get this in. I was doing a little test fitting off camera, and I noticed it's a little tight, and it's because we're running into that problem where I said the side of the cab is bowed. So we really got no option. I'm not going to cut this. I'm not going to cut this thinner because I know it's right at 23 1/2, same as top. So kind of want to just mush it in there a little bit. That way it will push the cab back out and kind of square everything back up for us. So I'm going to get one side in, and then I'll get the other one close, and then we'll get the persuader and we'll just tap it in. If we mar this up a little bit, we'll sand it down. This still is going to need probably 2 more coats of black paint. So, and it's not crazy tight, it's just a little tight. So now my goal is I want the top of this to line up with the bottom of this groove right here. And we're close on that side. Just got to come down a little bit and tap it from the back. All right, I'm right on that groove on this side. Just tap it down a little bit. That's right on leather. There we go. There's the back piece, just pressure fitted in. I'm not even going to glue that because that's so tight. And we'll end up gluing the top lip there where the roof sets on it. So next we're going to go ahead and cut the speaker part. Same thing, we're going to line it up, and then we're going to go ahead and cut out the speaker hole, and then we'll get that piece in here. And the cabinet's looking pretty good, man. It's coming back to life. We lucked out. We got the speaker piece. This is the inside part facing down that the speaker grill hooks onto. That's the inside where the speaker sits. And I was just checking the angle because this angle has to meet that one. And we are in luck because that is the same exact angle. The width was a little shorter. We're at 12 1/4 right here. So that's what we got to cut this at. I'm just going to square up the fence. But the angle was the same, so that makes it super easy. All right, the angle is just about 11 degrees on the blade there. That's what it's saying. So we want the finished side on top again. And we want our square edge against the fence. Make sure we're all locked down. And we'll go ahead and cut this one. There we go. All right, I got our speaker grill area here, and I guess speaker grill board. I don't know what the technical term is for this thing. But anyways, I got the old piece, and I got this all squared up here to our new board. It's exactly square to the side and the back, and we'll go ahead and do this one as well. That's why I saved these pieces until I got everything that I need from them. So, of course, we're going to have a little gap from where the blade went through. But what I'm doing is just trying to get the basic layout of it. We're all squared up here. And I'll go ahead and clamp this guy down. How awesome is it that my table saw is exactly 23.5 inches? That makes it easy. Gives a little ledge to work on out here. First thing what I want to do before I trace the hole is we got those speaker holes for the bolts. That hold the speaker and the grill in place. So I got those exactly where they're supposed to be. This is nice and square. That one's nice and square. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and drill those holes down through the old holes. Million times easier to do it now than when it's in the cabinet. Plus you can know your holes are straight, going straight down. All right, so next what we want to do, just like the back grills, want to go ahead and hold this down. We're going to have a little gap there. We'll have to use our imagination. But I'm just going to trace the speaker shape. All right, we got that. Now, somebody mentioned, they're like, why don't you use a router? I'm like, didn't want to set up a jig, and I really don't trust this because it's so puffy, it's going like this. So I didn't want my cut going up and down as I'm trying to do it. You can do that. If I had a jig or a template, that's exactly how I would do it. But in this case, jigsaw, the plate covers this big. You could actually cut a semi-square there and it would still work, but just as long as it's close. This is hidden. Same thing with the vents on the back. We got those pretty darn close. And, that's going to be against the wall. So that's the whole thing, guys. Never claimed I'm an expert. I just try to make these things look pretty the best way I can. And if you got a better way, man, put it in the comments. Let people see it. I just try to use common sense when I do this stuff. Like I said, I've only been doing it a couple of years myself. And, I just try to use ideas I had from doing, woodworking projects and such. So, I might not be doing it the exact way somebody else does, but the end result's the end result, right, guys? So, I'm going to go ahead and put a couple holes in this to give me some spots to go in. What I do is I just line it up on the outside of that line as close as I can. Oh. There we go. Got to clamp that guy back down. Got a pretty cool thing. We're going to be going to get a crazy climber here pretty soon. My buddy Adam, who's actually going to be sponsoring the show, owns Player's Choice here in Myrtle Beach. He has an awesome arcade, and we'll get up there and shoot some videos sometime soon. But he's got a crazy climber that we're going to be doing stencils and all the fun stuff on it. Wicked nice guy too. If you're in Myrtle Beach, make sure you check it out. It's at the Myrtle Beach Mall. All right, so we got those holes. Go ahead and get this stuff out of the way so our base of our jigsaw stays flat. And we'll go ahead and cut this out. There we go. Pretty good oval hole there. So what I'll do is just get some hand sandpaper, do this out. Like I said, this doesn't have to be perfect. You're gonna have a, you know, square plate that big going over this whole thing through those holes that we drilled. So I'm just gonna get just any rough stuff off that, and then we'll go ahead and get it put into the cab. All right, we got the back piece in. It's looking good. It's lined up exactly with those grooves that were cut in there originally. It's such a tight fit, I'm not worried about it. What I do want to do is shoot some brads through the side. I got the two original holes that were here that held it in place. So I'm gonna go just above it and just below it, because honestly, I'm being a little scared about this, because we're talking about a ½ inch I'm trying to hit for being blind. But hopefully we'll hit it and we won't splinter it out. So we'll go real close to the first one. And let me get over here so I can see it. Did it come through? Ah, we did it. We're in business. All right, so let me do one just below it. Thing is, I don't want this to move when I put the other one. We're in good shape. All right, and then let's try to line up one in between both of them to get that angle. I guess we could draw a line, right? Should we go for it? Awesome, didn't show. We're a little bit to the left of it, so. There we go, we got it. All right, so we'll do the same exact thing on the other side, behind the back. All right, so we got a nail hole down here on the bottom. Let's put one right next to it. And come out the front. All right, we did it. Let's put one next to this one. All right, that's what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to come out this front piece because that would mess it all up. And that's solid, that ain't going anywhere. So now, let's go ahead and get this piece in. Here's our speaker board all cut. That's the inside part, and that's the angle, so it's gonna go in this way. That angle goes on top of the other one. This is a tight fit, so we're gonna have to use the persuader again, but I want it to be tight because, you know, we're not using the original grooves in this thing. So we're gonna just tap it in there. Almost dropped it. And if we scrape up this part up front here, we didn't really do the final coat on this anyway, so I'd rather have these pieces be at the exact dimension because the cab is so out of square right now. just want this to be perfect. Gotta come up a little bit. All right, we gotta come up over here because this top piece goes over that back piece that we just cut. We're almost there. All right. And this isn't very entertaining TV. I just want to make sure that I got it nice and square and level. And I think we just about got it. All right. So what I'm going to do is get this perfect. And once I'm satisfied, because I'm not going to have you guys watch me for 5 minutes tap this thing, we're going to get that squared up. I'll come back, we'll shoot it into the side, and then we'll get some glue and we'll clamp the top to the bottom of that. But it's looking good, man. It's starting to look like a Pac Man. All right, guys, I tapped on this for about 10 minutes. I moved it, I tapped it, I measured it, I remeasured it, and I did all that off film because that's just like boring, you know, for you guys to watch me just tapping with a hammer for, for 10 minutes. But the most important thing, well, it fit, and it does. So it's got the right amount of overhang on each side. I measured my other one, and you know, the brackets come around like that and like that. So we're nice and even, same amount of space around on all sides, and it looks good. So what I did is, let me go ahead and grab the camera, and I'll show you guys how I made that happen. So I lined it up to the bottom of the line under here. Like I said, those grooves there. I got some glue down there. I'm going to throw a side clamp on here too because I was able to work some glue down through the side of the crack. And then this is kind of cool. I can go in here, maybe. Yeah. So this is flush all the way across. I got some glue on that back part, and so that's nice and even. And then I went ahead and shot some brads through the side. That's the original hole, and then I shot right next to it. And then I came around back. I think you can see through there. I shot some brads from the back. My gun would fit right in there like that. And I shot some brads from the back right into the top of that all the way across. So with the glue and everything, I think we should be in good shape. And it's looking pretty good, man. It's looking pretty Pac Man-y. So most of the structural damage on the cabinet we got fixed now. I'm going to go ahead and cut that board next, the one that goes in here. It sits against these rails, and that was from, you know, stop people from going back and touching the electronics. Like I said, with my kids, I want to go ahead and get that done. So I'm going to go ahead and get the 1/4-inch board, and I'm going to get the saw set for 23 1/4 because, you know, that didn't change. And we'll go ahead and get that tacked in there. I'm not going to paint that. I'm actually just going to leave that natural like the original. So we'll do that. Then we'll flip this thing on the back and go ahead and cut out that bottom and get the new piece in. And then the structural parts of the cab are all finished. But look at that speaker hole, man. Looks good. All right, we're going to go ahead and cut that board. I measured it on another pack that I have inside, and it's only 16 1/4 tall. So instead of wasting the whole sheet as 23 1/4, I think I said 23 1/4 when we were talking over there, but 23 1/4 is how wide the cabinet is. 16 1/4 is how tall this piece is. So I'm going to cut it to 16 1/4 first, save the rest of the board because I'm sure we'll use it at some point in time. So I got the fence set at 16 1/4. We'll go ahead and cut this. All right, we got it at 16 1/4. Now let's go to our width, 23 1/4. And this is just 1/4-inch plywood. You can get it at Lowe's, Home Depot. So we'll go ahead and cut this piece. All right, there's our piece. Let's test fit it. So we got our piece cut and we're in the back of the cab. We're gonna go ahead and get this, I'm sure we're gonna have to tap it in just like everything else because everything's out of whack. But all this stuff is gonna help take away that bow that we have going on here. So, just gotta get it under there. I think we're gonna have to get the persuader like we did last time. Head of my hammer's coming off. Now we just gotta tap it up some. Man, this thing is, hammer's coming off. We just got to go up about another inch. All right, let me look around front and make sure that we got this. All right. All right, let's shoot a couple nails in it just to get it to stay. I know these are going to go through that cleat, but we'll just go ahead and we will cut them off on the other side. All right, there we go. So I'm sure all that stuff's helping square this cab back because it doesn't even look nearly as bowed as it was. So the next and final step, last piece we need on making the cab whole and solid, which it's solid now. Let's cut out that bottom piece and get a new piece in there, and then we'll put this thing up. The last piece we got to tackle on this is the bottom, and the bottom is ooey gooey. Even if this didn't go through the flood, normally these get just destroyed over time. So I don't have a piece of 3/4-inch plywood, which I normally put in there. I do have MDF. And this, I'm never selling it. It's going in my house. I'm going to put Teflon leg levelers in there. So I actually think that I'm just going to use the piece of MDF I have instead of waiting, getting a new piece. So we're going to go ahead and take this out, and then we'll put a piece of MDF in there. Now to cut this out, we're going to Sawzall it out, but the easiest way is to get yourself a paddle bit, drill a hole right through the middle, then as close as you can to the top wood and the side. Like you want to kind of make a cross and then cut to those, and that's going to be the easiest way. That way you're not cutting into your wood. Bit came out. Let's go ahead and do one up top here. Do one on the side. Do one over here. And we'll do one at the bottom. the Sawzall, and we'll connect the dots, and this should come out in one piece. Well, 4 pieces. So I'm just trying to go to the drill holes that I made, that way I don't actually cut into the plywood. A lot more finesse than the other jerk that destroyed the Pac Man, huh? I couldn't believe it when I saw that video. All right, this is still... That's how crazy this stuff is. Even after being underwater for 20 some odd days, it's still pretty tough. So I'm just trying to loosen it up a little bit. There's a ton of nails in this outside edge. So you just got to kind of persuade it. Cutting underneath. If we get one piece out, it'll all fall out. I'm just trying to be careful with that bottom wood. I'm talking about this part here because it's got a groove cut in it, so this easily wants to come out. So we're just trying to gingerly take it out. It's pretty loose right there. I think we better cut some more. Now normally I would just pound these out, but with this wood, like, we're gonna have to re-glue and clamp this. It's just like the back. All right, let me get the rest of this taken out. Yeah, it's still pretty solid. We're gonna have to cut all that. Let me cut this real quick, and then off camera I'll get this all cleaned up, get the nails out, and then we'll figure out what we want to do with this wood here. I think we're gonna have to do something similar like we did on the back. Maybe take this whole piece out, and then we'll cut a piece to fit in there. So let me cut this out first, and then let me take a look at that. Man, it's still in there. It's crazy that that stuff is that strong, even when it just like vaporizes when I hit it with the saw. All right, well, I'm gonna get this cleaned up, take a look at it, figure out what the next step is, and then we'll come back and we'll figure it out together. All right, I got the whole bottom all cleaned out, got all the nails out. Ran into a little bit of a problem, but it's gonna be okay since we're cutting a new piece. Basically, you had that strip here, then you had the groove that the bottom fit into. All this from the water like broke away. But the good news is this is all solid. So basically what I'm gonna do is just cut a piece to fit in there, basically identically to the back door. And the other cool thing is I was able to keep all the cleats so we know exactly where they go. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the piece off camera. I'm gonna measure this to make sure it's exactly square, and cut the piece out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and move everything inside because it's starting to get dark, and we'll get that all, you know, put in, and we will get it all glued up, And yeah, and then the structural part of the cabinet's all done. Basically built a whole new cabinet. No, not really. I mean, we kept the guts of it, the front and the sides. I mean, that's what it was. So we just replaced the stinky parts. So let me cut that, and then we'll pick up in the garage. All right, it's dark outside, so I went ahead and moved the cab inside. I got all the edges cleaned up, and we're actually looking in pretty good shape. Also took the opportunity, like I told you guys before, I was going to paint the bottom part once I got everything done. And I got it nice and clean in there, and it's all sealed up so it won't smell like feet. And yeah, we're looking in pretty good shape. I measured everything. Everything looks square. Went ahead and cut my piece right there. I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, don't put MDF under there. I mean, we had particle board under there. That's how they came from the factory. And like I said, I'm going to put leg levelers, Teflon leg levelers on it, and it's going to be in my house. And I'll probably paint the bottom as well, just to seal it from any moisture or anything like that. And I'll seal the inside too. So we'll be good with that. MDF's nice and strong, gets a bad rap sometimes, but it's just because people didn't take care of their stuff. So all the cleats are there, which is gonna make this pretty easy as long as it fits. So I'm gonna get set up with the camera, and we're gonna glue this whole thing up completely. We're gonna put the new piece in. I'm gonna clamp the crap out of it, and then we'll shoot some brads in it all the way around. I also lifted it off. I got it up on a block on the bottom so I can get the clamps underneath it to pull it tight. So yeah, we're in the home stretch. All right, first things first, I want to go ahead and slather this thing with some glue. Want a lot of glue in here to make it strong. I thought we were going to run into a big problem like we did on the back piece when all the wood came out with it. It's really weird because the outside shell is perfect, but this inner core is what seems to take the brunt of the water. So, but this outside core is fine. So what it was just basically about a 1 inch difference. So I just cut the board bigger, and it will fit in there, and it will line up perfect. So we won't have to match up anything like we did on the other one. I know we got some glue dripping out. We're gonna, because I want this thing glued. So what do you guys think? You think it's coming along good? I think so. Pretty happy. I gotta hurry this up though, because I got a bunch of stuff in store for you guys. We're gonna be starting the double journey. Got a pole position. Haven't decided if I'm doing that on camera. I already actually started most of it, so that one will probably stay off camera. Waiting from Adam from One Circuit to get that 2-player board, man. I can't wait for that thing. I'm not even going to do the restore on mine until then. So come on, Adam. Help us out, buddy. Talk to Adam. He's actually going to do the Behind the Coin Door series with me here. So this upper part, I'm just going to put some glue on my finger and get it up there. We'll come back and wipe this down after we're done. I just want a lot of glue on this. All right, all the cleats are glued. We got that, we're good to go. Wipe that on there because we're going to sand that thing. And let's go ahead and get our bottom. And we'll go to get that in there. Actually, I haven't even fit this in yet. Hopefully my math was good. All right. Just tap it in flush. There we go. We're against all the cleats. So I'm going to go ahead and clamp this. To start with, I'm just going to do one upright and one sideways. Guys, if you're going to get any clamps, I would totally suggest getting at least a pair of these, I think they're 48 inch or 36 inch maybe. Let's see. I think cab's twisted a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this bottom set, shoot a couple pins down on the bottom, then we'll push it in and shoot a couple pins in the top, and then we'll clamp it. Yeah, it's really weird. I get the bottom square and the top pops out. So do that. Hopefully that will hold it. All right. You know what we'll do? Since we got our clamps, I'm going to use one the other way. Just going to loosely do that. Since we got the coin door slot, we'll hook into that and then pull it flat. There we go. I'm excited about this, man. I can't not wait to get this into the house. My wife just made a deal with me. If I bought her a new couch, she's gonna let me bring about 8 games in the living room. I was like, done deal. All right, so that's flat. So I'm gonna start compressing this one because I want it to sit tight on there and glue. And then I'm gonna push in the middle. All right, well, let me get some brads in there. Let's see. Actually, I gotta get some brads. Hang on a second, I'll be right back. And I'm gonna do them pretty tight, like one after another, because I want this to really hold. Like I said, this is basically just holding it until the glue. All right, I'm gonna pull this one off, and I'm gonna pull it down tight over here. Pull this guy off for a second. If you're working with brand new square wood, it's not a problem. This can get annoying sometimes. All right, let's go over here. Yeah, everything's looking really good, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and crank this sideways before and take out this middle one. Put some in the middle. I know it looks like we're putting hundreds of holes in here, but we're gonna Bondo all this. All right, guys, I'm gonna do pretty much most of the same. Just go all the way around it, clamp it, and shoot it with nails. I'm not going to keep you guys on that. And then we'll get this set up, and then we'll pretty much wrap up this episode. All right, guys, that's going to round it out for this episode. We got a lot done today, man. This actually looks like a legit Pac Man cabinet now. So, yeah, I'm pretty amazed. I'm happy with the speaker. I'm happy with the back. We still got to paint that black. I should have done that when I had the black paint out. We put a new bottom on it, and the whole bottom, it looks beautiful from the inside. I'll show a shot of that. And, you know, it's amazing how much this thing came back. You know, we got a lot of work to do still. We got to do the Bondo work, but structurally, we're done. This thing's squared up. I even measured it from the back, and that really took care of our squared problem, putting all these brand new unbowed pieces in there. I know they were tight and we had to tap them in there, but it really made the difference in the long run. So, yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. I want to remind you one more time, the Teespring campaign ends in 7 days. You guys asked me, how do I get one of these Arcade BodyShop T-shirts? I only made about 20 of them last year, and you got 7 days left. It cuts off at the end of the month. We might do one again later in the year. I had these made up for Southern Fried Game Expo. I washed this one about 10 times so far, so it's a little more faded than the one you'll be getting. But you can get this, you can get a hoodie, and it's like 20 bucks, man. You can get an Arcade BodyShop T-shirt. So it's teespring.com/Arcade BodyShop. Only got 7 days to do it. I gave you an extra bonus this week, so go get a shirt. And just making it up for you guys. I owed you guys a lot of episodes. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Next step on the cabinet is Bondo. Probably the next episode, though, I think I want to start going through the wiring harness. We might have to repin the edge connector because I don't trust that from sitting in the water. That was in the cabinet the whole time. And we'll get it all figured out. But until next time, be sure to subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. I want to do it by the end of the month. And I also want to sell it on the shirt. So hit it. teespring.com/Arcade BodyShop. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back with another episode very soon. Thanks, guys.